My name is Amelia Moore. My husband James is a very tyrannical person. He spares no effort or expense when it comes to himself and his parents. But won't spend a dime on me, our daughter, or my parents. My husband, who is like that, has been looking at a brochure for an overseas trip. He's been gazing at this brochure for the past few days. Going on a trip abroad? I knew. It couldn't be a family vacation. Yeah, that's right. Our daughter is getting married soon, so a trip just for the two of us might be nice. What? You think I'm going with you? No way. I knew it, yet I asked anyway. Over 20 years of marriage, he's never taken me on a trip. Not even for a day out. When I took our child out, I had to do it secretly with my own money, so he wouldn't find out. Who are you going with? Your mistress? What? Ridiculous. Do you think I'm that kind of man? I don't cheat. It's more like you can't. Such thoughts come to mind. I'm going with my parents. I thought it would be something like that. I just asked on purpose. My parents want to go on a trip abroad. Filial piety is important. He talks about filial piety, but he's never shown any to my parents. Just stay home and keep the house in order. After all, I'm the one working, while you just have a part-time job. You can't afford the luxury of a trip abroad. Is that so? I'm beyond caring now. He's just that kind of person. I simply chose the wrong partner. When are you leaving? Tomorrow. When will you be back? It's a 5-day trip. So, you'll be back in time for the wedding. That's good. Charlotte's wedding is in a week. I've mentioned this before. And yet, my husband talks about going on an overseas trip. Even now, when I mention the wedding, he doesn't respond. Does he even care about his daughter? I've given up on him to the point where I can't even sigh anymore. Oh, did you withdraw money from my account? I just came from the bank. $40,000 was missing from my account. This must surely be my husband's doing. I suspected it immediately, but couldn't accuse him without proof. I didn't want to start a fight so close to the wedding. He glanced at me but didn't respond. Hey, money's missing from my account. Do you know anything about it? I don't know. He's lying, as always. He's been lying to me throughout our marriage. He thinks I don't know, but I do. Knowing everything, I kept silent. Do you really not know? Then James burst out in anger. I said I don't know. Your savings have nothing to do with me. Are you suggesting I stole it? What kind of woman are you? It's not that, but $40,000 is missing. And it can't just disappear unless someone withdraws it, right? How should I know? You must have used it. I wouldn't do that, it's important money. James stood up, looking displeased, and went into the bedroom. Once in the bedroom, I could hear him humming. And making noise. Oh, he's preparing for the trip, I thought, but I couldn't provoke him further. But, that money. I need it, feeling despondent, I planned to check his luggage after he fell asleep. But instead of sleeping, once he finished packing, James said he was going to his parents' house and left with a large travel bag. Wait. We haven't finished talking about the money. I called after him, but he didn't turn back and just drove away as if escaping. What is this? Why won't he talk properly? How cruel can he be? These thoughts crossed my mind. The next day, James contacted me. I'm at the airport now. Have a safe trip, would be the normal response from a wife. But I couldn't bring myself to say that. About the $40,000. Don't fuss over just $40,000. But that's important.
Quiet! I'm about to go on a trip abroad with my parents. Don't you think your husband won't come back if you say unnecessary things upon departure?
I wished. He wouldn't come back. But I can't stay silent this time. That's important money. I saved it up myself. So what? It's for my parents, then no complaints, right? So you did take it? Yes, I did. I didn't tell you because you'd nag. You should have told me yesterday. I don't like being nagged before leaving. That's just. I'll have a grand time with this $40,000. I'll even bring you back a keychain as a souvenir. Do you even understand what that money is for? It must be for retirement or something. It is up to the kids to take care of their retired parents. No need to save for that. You're such a small-minded person. What? That money was for Charlotte's wedding. I couldn't believe what he was saying and raised my voice in shock. He seemed surprised, too, when I mentioned our daughter's wedding. Was there any paternal feeling? But it was entirely different. Wedding funds? Then it's even more okay to use it. What are you talking about? What are you saying? Charlotte's wedding is far off. Such a child can't possibly get married. What? How old do you think Charlotte is? She's not even 20 yet. What are you talking about? She's already 26. Since when? How can you be so uninterested in your own family? I just got confused. Confused? How can you make such a mistake? Quiet. I'm about to board the plane. It's not about getting on the plane right now. That's why you shouldn't use that money. Even if Charlotte is 26, she's not getting married right away, is she? Be quiet. What are you talking about? The wedding is in a week, isn't it? What? Don't tell me you forgot about Charlotte's wedding, do you? I never approved of her getting married. When Charlotte's boyfriend came over to ask for her hand in marriage, you weren't home because you said you were going to your parents. Even though I told you it was ridiculous, you said it was fine since I was there. That happened? Yes, it did. Even though I said it was rude to the guests, you left anyway. I haven't heard about it afterward. I told you he was a very nice person. Is that so? Charlotte has been looking forward to marrying him, saving up half and half with me for a long time. That's the $40,000 you're about to splurge on. Without it, we can't pay for the wedding. Well, I didn't know about that, so I don't approve of this marriage. Why are you saying you don't approve now? Because if I approve, I'd have to return this money. How can I do that? This money is needed to take my parents on a trip. Filial piety is much more important than a child's wedding ceremony. That's ridiculous. Using the money saved for your daughter's wedding for filial piety. If you really want to do filial piety, you should save up yourself and go. Do you think I can save up that much money? It's your fault for not saving. What? I'm your husband. How can you talk to me like that? If you were a father, you should understand your daughter's feelings. Hearing this, Charlotte, who had been listening, finally burst into tears. Of course, she would. She had been dreaming of her wedding in a week. Without this money, she wouldn't even be able to wear the wedding dress she had chosen. Her father was destroying her once-in-a-lifetime dream for his vanity. Charlotte is crying because of you. She's saying she can't have the wedding she's been preparing for. Don't you feel sorry for her? Even without a ceremony, they can be happy. There are plenty of people who have ceremonies and still get divorced. If they really want to get married, just submitting the marriage certificate is enough. How can you say such a thing? Filial piety is the most important thing. Everyone's just fixated on weddings and receptions like parrots. Think about your daughter's happiness. Aren't you considering your parents' happiness? They want to go on a trip abroad. Fulfilling that dream is a child's duty. You talk about filial piety, yet you've never done anything for my parents. Not once since we've been married have you given my parents a gift. How is that filial piety? Your parents aren't my parents. How can you say that? Anyway, I'm boarding the plane now. No! Come back! Please return that money. Quiet! I'm going to spend all of it. James. After saying that, my husband hung up the phone. Afterward, no matter how many times I tried, I couldn't get through to him. And the wedding is in a week. The money Charlotte and I saved up for it. In an instant, our dream was shattered. It's over, it's all over. Charlotte continued to cry, but then, as if she made up her mind, she lifted her head. Mom, let's leave this house. Leave, you mean? We can't stay with such a person. You've endured enough, haven't you? You can divorce him. Divorce. Do you still love Dad? If asked whether I love him, the answer is no. I've only endured for the sake of my daughter. Then divorce him. I can't think of him as a parent anymore. He never cares about your parents, only his own. Staying with him will only bring us misery. But if your father isn't there at the wedding, won't you feel awkward? No way. It's more embarrassing if he's there. My boyfriend will understand if we talk to him properly. His parents will understand too. Yeah, you're right. A man who would squander his own daughter's wedding fund can't be considered a father. When I said this, Charlotte was already on the phone. After ending the call, she urged me to start packing. I've told my boyfriend everything. He understood, so let's move out right away. All right, for now, we'll settle down there, and then I can look for a place to live. There's no need for that. He said we can live with him. The new house is very big. There's nothing to worry about. But to live in the house of a newlywed couple, as a mother-in-law. I've decided to take care of you from now on, after all the hard work you've done. Let's get ready quickly. Persuaded by Charlotte, I packed and headed to her new house. Arriving at the new house, I was amazed by its size. It's huge. I walked around the house in surprise, but it was completely different from the house where we, as office workers, had lived. Welcome, Amelia. Please feel at home, said Oliver Thompson, Charlotte's fiancé, with a kind smile. Life there was comfortable, and I spent it feeling endlessly grateful. The day my husband returned from his trip arrived. He seemed to have gone back to our old house, noticing that mine and Charlotte's belongings were gone. Hey, I'm back. My husband called me as if nothing had changed. Wait for me. I'll come over now. Quick-witted Oliver drove us to our old house. Oh, welcome back. What's going on? Where are you? We've moved out. What? Moved out? I didn't hear anything about this. Well, you wouldn't have. It was decided while you were on your trip. What do you mean? This house isn't a rental. I know. You can have that house. Have it? It's in my name, it's my house. More importantly, why did you move without telling me? We couldn't stand your tyranny anymore. That's why we moved. Why would you do such a thing? Live as you please. I can't deal with someone who cares only about his parents, not his daughter's marriage. What? A woman talking back to me like that? I don't care what you say. I've decided to divorce you. You do as you like. Divorce? Yes. Here are the papers you need. Please file the divorce. What? Where are you? At Charlotte's new house. Ridiculous. Moving in with a newlywed couple. Must be a tiny place. He must have thought so. I showed him dozens of photos. What's this? Charlotte's new house. Your so-called tiny place. Why so many photos? One is enough for a tiny place. I doubt you'd understand the size from just one. All these don't cover the whole house? Yes. It's that big. A young guy living in such a big house? You're being deceived. No, it's not like that. Oliver, oh, that's my daughter's fiancé's name. I know that without you telling me. Oliver had been building the house even before deciding to marry. He didn't want to trouble his future spouse. Quite different from someone else I know. Even so, to build such a large house, he must be quite wealthy, right? Oliver's father is a wealthy man. He built the house saying that if his son was getting married, he would need a home. He apparently always thought about living with me one day, so there's room for me too. So, it's fine for you to live alone in this house. I would feel bad towards the other party. Dad! Don't worry, Mom's living with us. Oh, and about the $40,000 for the wedding. Sorry, that was my mistake. I thought it was your filial duty towards me. Everything's been taken care of by Oliver's father. Is that so? Well, that's good then. His father is so thoughtful. Unlike you, it's unforgivable. That's why, please divorce me. What? Just because of this, you think I'll agree to a divorce? Why not? You've hardly been home, always at your parents' house. We've practically been living separately already, so what's the problem with divorcing? No, I never intended to live separately. But that's the reality. You were never home on weekends. And on top of that, you withdrew money from your wife's account to enjoy a trip abroad with your own parents, despite being told it was important for your daughter. You wouldn't even listen. That was my filial duty. Do you think you can justify everything by calling it filial duty? You wouldn't understand. Clearly I don't. It's better to divorce someone I can't understand, right? I won't approve of a divorce. Why not? You won't have any trouble without me, right? No, I would be troubled without a housekeeper. Housekeeper? You thought of me as a housekeeper? Of course. A woman like you can only be thought of as a housekeeper. How could you? I'm right to divorce you. To be treated as a housekeeper despite being your wife, I can't do this anymore. You should be grateful for having a place with me. How could you? Dad, no, sir. Please divorce Mom. Sir? If you think of my mom as a housekeeper, then I will consider you a stranger. It's only natural, right? I've always thought of you as my father, but I can't tolerate it anymore. Influenced by your mother. It's normal to be filial, but to call your parent a stranger? My mother is my only parent. I will fulfill my filial duties towards her, so please feel free to divorce. Divorce is a matter between parents. It's not for a daughter like you to say. At that moment, Oliver, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Nice to meet you. I'm Charlotte's fiancé, Oliver Thompson. Aha, so you're the man who seduced my daughter. To seduce is quite a harsh way to put it. Dad. How could you say that? I'm a stranger, right? You still call me Dad? Oops. It's okay, leave it to me. Since you're divorcing Amelia, I won't consider you as my father-in-law, Mr. Moore, right? What? I have no intention of divorcing. Give my wife back. Wife? First, you call her a housekeeper, then your wife. You sure are busy. What? Anyway, it seems Amelia is adamant about divorcing you, and I won't consider you as my father-in-law. So, allow me to speak freely, but you took your daughter's money, right? What's that got to do with you? It's none of your business, is it? Or are you complaining that the marriage funds were taken away from you? That's not what I'm saying. Since you used your daughter's money without permission, I just wanted to let you know that it's okay to report this to the police. What of it? What's wrong with a parent using their child's money? I've spent a lot raising her. A mere $40,000 is nothing. It doesn't work like that. Even if you're family, that money was saved by your daughter and wife. That's our way. Your way, not your family's. So what? It's my daughter's money. I can do whatever I want with it. Besides, we aren't even divorced yet. And I haven't approved of your marriage. Without my consent, you think you can just go ahead and get married? It doesn't matter. We can get married without your consent. You think you can be happy without a parent's approval? You said people can be happy without a wedding ceremony, right? It's the same thing. Many people are happy without parental consent. Besides, we have Amelia. She not only agrees but blesses our marriage. That woman's consent isn't enough. Why not? She seems much more parental and humane than someone as selfish as you. What did you say? If you keep being loud, should I call the police? My daughter's money is my money. As long as we aren't divorced, I'm your father-in-law. You should submit to me. You seem not to understand. Even if it's your daughter's money, using it without permission is embezzlement. That makes you a criminal. What? How would your company react if they found out? You might even get fired. Are you threatening me? No, not a threat. Just saying, if you don't agree to the divorce, I'll have to report it to the police. Embezzlement can lead to 5 years in prison or more. Do you want to go to jail? No, haha. That's just a joke. Is that so? Good to know. The wedding funds, actually, were offered by Amelia and Charlotte because they insisted, so we decided to split it. Honestly, the wedding fund is not a big deal for me. Is that so? Yes, from now on, Amelia will live with us. I've heard about her struggles from Charlotte. We've prepared a spacious room for her. Filial piety is important. So, you don't have to worry about anything. If it's that big, let me and my parents live there too. What? That's quite a joke. You're about to become a stranger to us. I won't divorce. Who would do such a thing with bad public perception? Public perception? Yes. Divorce is not socially acceptable. If you understand that, living together with me and my parents would be more acceptable. I don't care about public perception. Staying married just for that would only lead to unhappiness. It's better for the guilty to be punished. So, I guess I'll have to report you to the police. What? Go to jail and cool your head, don't you think? If you do that, Charlotte will be sad. Will she? Of course. What daughter would be happy if her father became a criminal? She seems happy here. She says it's natural for you to go to jail for stealing $40,000. That's nonsense. What does my wife say? She wouldn't be happy if I went to jail. I won't visit you, but get along well with everyone in prison. What a woman you are! So, I'll contact the police. Wait a minute. Will you agree to the divorce? All right, but... Is there anything else? I want to make amends. What? I'll be troubled without a wife. Let me make amends. Bad timing for that. Amelia has probably already made up her mind about the divorce. Which means she has no intention of reconciling. Just give up and file the divorce. If you don't, I'll have to report you to the police, so be prepared. The next day, my ex-husband contacted me. I've submitted the divorce papers. Is that so? That's all you have to say? Do you want me to list all the grievances? Forget it. After hanging up, my ex-husband apparently turned to his parents' house. He must have felt lonely living alone. However, his parents rejected him. Live together with you? No way. I can't imagine living with a son who does nothing, especially at my age. I can tolerate your visits, but living together is out of the question. That's what they said. Such a similar parent and child. However, my ex-husband, who never imagined his parents would refuse him, seemed quite shocked. Consequently, he couldn't focus at work, making constant mistakes. Eventually, he was relegated to a less important position, enduring the disdain of his colleagues while clinging to his job. He ended up living alone. Being someone who never did much, his house became a mess, and he even started receiving complaints from neighbors. Despite his situation, he reached out to me for help, but I just laughed and blocked him. The wedding day arrived, and Charlotte had a grand ceremony. Though it was a wedding without her father, The groom's parents were understanding, and it went off without a hitch. They even went on an overseas honeymoon, bringing back unique souvenirs. Nowadays, I'm living peacefully and leisurely by my daughter's side.